Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We continue reading from the 11th chapter of the Bhagavad-Gita as it is. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. This is the universal form. Text number 55. This is the last verse of the chapter. And this is the essence. This sloka is the essence of all the Vedic scriptures. So important. If possible, we can also memorize this verse. You can memorize them on your own. Mat-karma-kṛn mat-paramo mad-bhaktaḥ saṅga-varjitaḥ nirvairaḥ sarva-bhūteṣu yasamam iti Pāṇḍava. Word for word meaning: mat-karma-kṛt, engage in doing my work. Mat-paramaḥ, considering me the supreme. Mad-bhaktaḥ, engage in my devotional service. Saṅga-varjitaḥ, freed from the contamination of fruitive activities and mental speculation. Nirvairaḥ, without an enemy. Sarva-bhūteṣu, among all living entities. Yaha, one who. Saha, he. Mam, unto me. Eti, comes. Pāṇḍava, O son of Pāṇḍu. Translation: My dear Arjuna, he who engages in my pure devotional service, free from the contaminations of fruitive activities and mental speculation, he who works for me, who makes me the supreme goal of his life, and who is friendly to every living being, he certainly comes to me. Everybody please repeat. My dear Arjuna, he who engages in my pure devotional service, free from the contaminations of fruitive activities and mental speculation, he who works for me, who makes me the supreme goal of his life, and who is friendly to every living being, he certainly comes to me. Such a nice verse, no? It says everything. That's why, according to the Acharyas, and Srila Prabhupada also, he included it here in the purport. This verse is considered to be the essence of Bhagavad-Gita. But Bhagavad-Gita is the essence of all the spiritual wisdom, all the Vedic literatures, all the scriptures. It's like the essence of the essence. So we go to the third paragraph, purport. Because it's quite a long purport, many things could be or can be said or explained. So the last or the word that we will continue on is on the third paragraph. The word mat-paramaḥ is on the bottom of the 531, page 531, the paragraph on the bottom. The word mat-paramaḥ refers to one. Which one?
You're starting from the beginning.
I will start in the beginning.
Up until the end of it.
Up to that word parama?
Yeah, up to the paragraph.
Okay, I thought I'd start there.
No, you're starting in the
Okay.
beginning. Second class tomorrow.
All right. We'll start from the start, from the beginning. Okay, purport. Anyone who wants to approach the supreme of all the personalities of Godhead and the Krishna Loka planet in the spiritual sky and be intimately connected with the Supreme Personality, Krishna, must take this formula as stated by the Supreme Himself. So, this sloka is for those who wish to go to Krishna Loka, the topmost planet in the spiritual sky. The kingdom of God is composed of two parts: the spiritual world and the material world. And the spiritual world is comprised of 3/4 or 75% of the kingdom of God, and 1/4 or 25% of the kingdom of God is the material world. Just in case you have not noticed yet, we are in the material world. Okay? And it says also that the material world is compared to the reflection of banyan tree, ashbata, in the bank of a river. The reflection is upside down. Banyan tree is supposed to be the root also. It's on the top. That's banyan tree. So it's upside down. So the material world is perverted reflection. This is a place, mrityu loka, place of death. And the spiritual world is the opposite, the original, because we are in the reflection. And Krishna Loka is the topmost planet in the spiritual world, where the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna, resides, eternally youth, as a 16-year-old boy. He never takes birth there, just like here in the material world, Boma Vrindavan, in our universe, 5,000 years ago, Lord Krishna took birth as the son of first mother Devaki and Vasudeva, the father, and then transferred to Gokul. He took birth in Mathura and then transferred into Gokul, Mahavan, where originally there are actually two Krishnas, and two Krishnas became one. Krishna in Mathura and Krishna in Gokul, Yasodanandana Krishna. So the Supreme Lord resides originally in Krishna Loka. He never leaves that place, Vrindavan. Or even in Krishna Loka is divided also. There is the Svetadvip. Svetadvip is called also the place where Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his eternal associates resides. And then there is the Vrindavan part, where Lord Krishna and his eternal associate resides. That's why it says that Vrindavan and Navadvip, there's no difference. And Krishna, Lord Chaitanya, the same personality but more. Lord Chaitanya combined Radha and Krishna. So in this spiritual sky, where everything says, every walk is a dance, every word is a song, the water tastes nectar. The trees are made of kalpa vriksha trees. That means whatever you desire, it'll be fulfilled, unless, unlike here in the material world, an apple tree is an apple tree, or an orange tree is an orange tree. But in the spiritual world, in Krishna Loka, Vrindavan, the tree there is called kalpavriksha tree, and if you wish one time amrut, you'll get amrut. The next time you want anjir, you'll get anjir. Don't you want to go there? Huh? Or you're still thinking about going there? You're not so sure. Well, we are very fortunate. We are in the Bhoma Vrindavan, replica of the original spiritual world. There is no difference. Even though it's in the material world, the place where we are, those whose eyes are tinged with the love of Godhead, premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena, their eyes are anointed with love of God, then they can see Vrindavan as it is. It is only our contaminated senses, including the mind, that prohibits us to not be able to see the real Vrindavan. This is real Vrindavan. It becomes covered up as Kali Yuga progresses. It'll become like a desert, and it's almost like a desert. It's like if you go to Govardhan, where Govardhan is part of Rajasthan. There is some area in Rajasthan there. They did some kind of measurement. Right now we're about like 40, 41 degrees, but the highest temperature recorded in the planet is in Govardhan, the hottest place on earth, hotter than Sahara Desert. So more than 50, of course. It doesn't matter how much it is, but the problem is Govardhan is sinking one size of a mustard seed every day. So as Kali Yuga progresses, no more. It'll be flat, and some parts of Govardhan Hill is very low. I remember going there in 1987. I was looking up here like this, but now it's like this. And if you put 365 mustard seeds, line them up, it's quite a distance. And thousands of years ago, 5,000 years ago, more than that. It says used to be 25 kilometers in height, higher than the Himalayas. That's why Giriraj is the king of mountains. Of course, in Krishna Loka or Goloka Vrindavan, here it's called Gokula Vrindavan, and in the spiritual world it's called Goloka Vrindavan. The planets of the cow. The planet of the cows, where Krishna is always accompanied by his flute and the cows, all the time. He spends more time with the cows than his parents, than Mother Yasoda or Nanda Maharaj. And is full of variegatedness, lots and lots of activities. So if you want to be intimately connected with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, that's the meaning of Krishna, the Supreme Personality, the topmost. Ekala Isvara Krishna Ara Sarva-bhūteṣu. Krishna is the only Supreme and everyone is subordinate than him. Or Ete Chamsakala Pumsa Krishna Stu Bhagavan Swayam Purna Bhagavan Swayam Bhagavan 100% Bhagavan, to the highest degree, because sometimes devotees like Narad Muni, they're also called Bhagavan. Not 100%. Devotees of the Lord are also called Bhagavan. Therefore, this verse is considered to be the essence of Bhagavad-Gita. And not just Bhagavad-Gita, as we mentioned earlier. The Bhagavad-Gita is a book directed to the conditioned souls who are engaged in the material world with the purpose of lording it over nature and who do not know the real spiritual life. For those conditioned souls who wants to stay here, to remain in the material world, Krishna will make sure that you will forget him. As Prabhupada says, if you want to forget Krishna, Krishna will make arrangements for you to forget him. Not directly by him, but indirectly through Maya. As we were talking this morning in the Bhagavatam class, the Mahamaya, that deluding energy of the Supreme Lord. Both Yoga Maya and Mahamaya, both are deluding. Both are illusory energy. For the devotees, they're put into illusion to see Krishna as a Supreme Lord, so that in order to intensify their relationship. But for the conditioned souls in the material world, they're also put into illusion not to go back to Godhead. I was listening to Prabhupada's class. Yes. If you don't want to go back to Godhead, then Krishna will make that arrangements for you not to go back to Godhead and enjoy the material energy. But you cannot really enjoy, because as spirit souls, it's like cannot be mixed with matter. Oil and water cannot be mixed. It's always going to be separated. It's not possible for the living entities whose eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord is that of loving relationship, cannot enjoy having relationship with the material energy. It's dead matter. How you can enjoy dead matter? You can enjoy because there are three kinds of happiness. Happiness derived from the material energy, enjoying the senses with the sense objects, enjoying happiness being merged with Brahman, Brahma Jyoti, the effulgence coming from the body of Lord Krishna, way in the spiritual world, in Krishna Loka. And the happiness derived from performing devotional service. So, our original consciousness is Krishna consciousness, but we have forgotten it. And therefore, we are here for reformation, to reform ourselves. Unfortunately, others are still enjoying, but that enjoying propensity in the material world is very shallow. Doesn't really fulfill the real enjoyment that we are all hankering for. So, the conditioned souls, they can only get out of this material world, just for example, through the scriptures or Vedic literatures, like especially the Bhagavad-Gita. Bhagavad-Gita is a universal knowledge for everyone, irregardless of one's religion, nationality, culture, in all walks of life. Is a knowledge whereby if we apply it in our everyday activities, we'll be free from the cycle of repeated birth and death, and we'll be purified our existence. And at the time of death, we don't have to come back again, and we proceed towards the spiritual world. Yeah, it's meant to show how one can understand his spiritual existence and his eternal relationship with the Supreme Spiritual Personality, and to teach one how to go back to Godhead. Unfortunately, we don't want to go back to Godhead. We still want to stay a little while. This is because, again, of the material energy. It's like Prabhupada was saying in a class also, Bhagavad-Gita, I was listening. If you have that lectures available, the Bhagavad-Gita, Prabhupada says, the materialists, they know what they're doing, but they cannot control it. It's beyond their control. They know what they're doing, even though they know that it is not good for them, ultimately. Like a thief. Prabhupada gave an example. A thief, he knows that if he steals somebody's property, he may get caught. He will get caught someday. But the thief, he cannot control. He still would like to steal. And then one day, he'll get caught. He knew that he will get caught. So similarly, the materialists, actually they know what they're doing. Only a mad person doesn't know what he's doing. Or he may still have, is out of control. Even a mad person is out of control, his actions. It's the material energy, Triguna, goodness, passion, and ignorance, who's controlling all of our activities. Prakriti kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasa ahankara itiyame. Bina prakriti astida. No? Yes. We're thinking we are the doer, but actually is the ego. Ahankar. The ahankar. We think, but actually is the material energy. So it's not possible to attain the eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord unless we give up our false ego, becoming proud. It says that even a pauper is proud of his penny. You've heard of that before? Of course. It's like here, you give a rupee to a beggar, he will throw it back to you. No. 10 rupees. Right? In some places, he'll throw back the rupee. I don't want your rupee. I want 10 rupees. So, nevertheless, we cannot be a chooser here. Somehow or other, we are stuck in the material world. So we try to get the best way how to get out, and we have to perform austerities. Austerity is meant for the human platform. Human platform is meant for austerities. To get out, go back home, back to Godhead, and attain the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. Now here is the verse which clearly explains the process by which one can attain the success in his spiritual activity, devotional service. See, we came to the material world, or we are here in the material world because we want to be happy separate from Lord Krishna. But that is not possible. And Prabhupada gave an example, just like the sparks near the fire has the same quality as the big fire. Sparks are very small in terms of size, but it has heat, it has light, it has brightness, as long as it is within the vicinity of the fire. But as soon as the sparks leave that place where the big fire is, then it loses the essence, it loses the characteristics of same as the fire. So similarly, as long as we are engaged or trying to be engaged, right now we are not performing bhakti yet, because bhakti is very rare. We still have so many conditions. Okay, I'll do it, but what is it for me? Shall I get something? No. Bhakti means just giving. And Krishna, if he reciprocates or not, we cannot demand. Like, we may want to see Krishna, but not because of your performance of bhakti also that Krishna will show himself to you. Out of his sweet will only that he will show himself to you. But bhakti is like the means whereby ultimately, through our sincerity in performing devotional service is like no mental speculation, nothing want for fruitive gain, then we will attain bhakti, devotional service. Pure loving devotional service towards Supreme Lord. As far as work is concerned, one should transfer his energy entirely to Krishna conscious activities, as is stated in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1-255. Anasaktasya visayang yatarhang upayunjata nirbandha Krishna sambandhe yuktang vairagyam uchyate. No work should be done by any man except in relationship to Krishna. This is called Krishna karma. So anything done for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord, that word bhajan or bhajate is only for Krishna. There's no such thing as Shiva bhajan or Brahma bhajan or Ganesh bhajan. Is Krishna bhajan. Bhajan means worship. So anything, there's another verse in the Bhagavad-Gita, yat karosi yat asnasi yat kurosi dadasi yat. Whatever you do, whatever sacrifice you perform, whatever austerities you perform should be done for the pleasure of Lord Krishna. Yajñartat karmano nyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. That means all the sacrifices has to be performed for the pleasure of Lord Krishna. All the work that we should do, it should be as a sacrifice. But ultimately, that sacrifice, there is a reciprocation from the Supreme Lord. That sacrifice for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord and his devotees, Vaishnavas, will not have any more material reaction. What you get is Krishna karma. Krishna karma means you'll get some punya, pious credits, bhakti points. If you reach 100% bhakti points, then you go back home, back to Godhead. It's like a spiritual bank account. Never go bankrupt. Whatever one performs in relation for the service of the Supreme Lord, there is no loss or diminution. Krishna karma, unlike the karma or the karmic reaction by performing material activities, there is an opposite or equal reaction. One may suffer or one may enjoy, but that sense of enjoyment through material activities is part of one's sufferings because it's not really enjoyment. One may be engaged in various activities, but one should not be attached to the results of his work. The results should be done only for him. For example, one may be engaged in business, but to transform that activity into Krishna consciousness, one has to do business for Krishna. Sometimes we hear devotees, "Oh Maharaj, I'm just doing this for Krishna. I have a business, and if I get some profit, I will give to Krishna." I will give to Krishna. But what if you don't get any profit? What if you only, have enough for yourself and your family? Are you not going to give to Krishna? Yes, I've heard this many times. "Maharaj, please give me your blessings. I have a business. I'll give to Krishna." I give to Krishna. As soon as I get some, as soon as my business grows, why not give to Krishna now? What if your business go bankrupt? That means your promise is not going to be fulfilled. You've heard of this before? Yes? No? I told this story a long time ago. There was a devotee or worshipper of I think Kali or Durga, and he wanted to win lottery. So he prayed to Durga, please let me win. If I win, I'll give 50% to you. Right? And this is true story. So that Shakta or follower of Durga bought the ticket and he won. But second prize, he won only 50% of the first prize. So now he came to Durga and he was thanking Durga. So Durga is asking, where is my 50%? And the Shakta or the follower says, well, you already took your 50%. I only get second prize. So, there is no condition. When we perform bhakti, we don't expect anything. Krishna, it's like Arjuna. Don't worry. They're all killed. They've already been killed by myself. It's just like become an instrument. So whenever we perform bhakti, we should not think that whatever is the result is because of me. No, you're not. You just became the instrument to fulfill the specific duty that you have to do. Just like Arjuna. If Krishna is the proprietor of the business, then Krishna should enjoy the profit of the business. Yeah, how many we've seen, before they start their business, they will do puja, right? They will do artik, dup artik, or they will hire a brahmana to chant many mantras. Even in Vrindavan, you've seen it before they open, or even while they're open, the brahmana will come with all of his paraphernalia and he will do the puja. But the profit doesn't go to Krishna after that, they spend more. Rupa Goswami says 50% of your income should be given. It's like Kolavecha Sridhar. It's a poor brahmana, Sridhar Pandit, a poor brahmana, and he will give half of his profit to worship of Ganga. And whatever left, 25% for his necessities and 25% also for emergency. How can you say, I give to Krishna? I'm doing this. This is my karma. This is my dharma. It says here, if a businessman is in possession of thousands and thousands of dollars, and if he has to offer all this to Krishna, he can do it. This is work for Krishna. Instead of constructing a big building for his sense gratification, he can construct a nice temple for Krishna, and he can install the deity of Krishna and arrange for the deity's service, as is outlined in the authorized books of devotional service. It's like those who helped the Goswamis build the temples, like Madan Mohan. He's a merchant, right? He was a merchant, salt merchant. And somehow or other he was stuck in the bank of Yamuna, and Sanatan Goswami navigated how to get out, and he promised, I'll build you a temple. Then after he sold his salt, he came back and he promised. Same the king of Rajasthan, of Jaipur, he also helped build the Radha Govinda temple. They provide. So how many really big businessmen who help Krishna conscious activities nowadays? Some, but not many. They keep it for themselves. If you keep something for yourself which actually doesn't belong to you, everything belongs to Krishna, then you will attain karma only. You have to come back, and either you enjoy or suffer the result of that. This says here, if you build a nice temple, you're a businessman, based from the authorized books. That is called Krishna karma. And anyone who helped construct a temple, your place in the spiritual world is already guaranteed. It's like while helping in construction a temple of Lord Krishna, is like Krishna is also constructing your residence in the spiritual world. This is what the Shastra says. Usually we use that as a encouragement to collect donations, so that but others is still, those who doesn't have faith, it doesn't matter for them, they will not, or they will give a little quantity of whatever they have. Of course, Krishna sees not what you give, but what you keeping behind you. Krishna doesn't, he sees also, but Krishna sees more what you are hiding. One should not be attached to the result of his work, but the result should be offered to Krishna, and one should accept as prasadam the remnants of offerings to Krishna. If one constructs a very big building for Krishna and installs the deity of Krishna, one is not prohibited from living there, but it is understood that the proprietor of the building is Krishna. It's like we have ashram here, Krishna Balaram Mandir, or everything that we use for Krishna's service. A realized soul, he knew that nothing belongs to me. I live here empty-handed. Ultimately, everything belongs to Krishna. So whatever, it's like here, we have an equipment here, this belongs to Krishna. If the cameraman walks away and he says, oh, this is mine, no, it's not yours. It belongs to Krishna. So similarly, the grihastas, you may be having a nice apartment or a nice villa, but that doesn't belong to you really. You may say, oh, I will give it to my children. But the children, they're not the real proprietor. Ultimately, it's Krishna. Especially if you use that place for Krishna's service. It's like, that's why here in Vrindavan, when Prabhupada was writing his books, 5,000 temples in Vrindavan. That means, well, you don't see 5,000 temples, mainly 6 Goswamis temples and here and there, because every residence here, every houses, there are temple, right? So now there's probably 20,000 temples, maybe more. Well, you have a lot of high-rise building here, but no one is there. They only come during Janmashtami. It says here, that is called Krishna consciousness. If, however, one is not able to construct a temple for Krishna, one can engage himself in cleansing the temple of Krishna. That is also Krishna karma. If you clean the temple of Krishna, it is like cleaning your heart. Prabhupada says, if you clean the utensils used for cooking for the offerings to offer to Krishna, you are cleaning your heart. Cleansing our heart. Cleansing our hearts from what? From enemies. 6 enemies. Lust, anger, greed, madness, illusion, anger, and envy. That's why Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the test in Krishna consciousness in the early days, and I hope it is still right now, is that, we will be sent to the kitchen to help wash the pots. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, one time he was giving a class, so he noticed there is this new boy, he just came in, and he sat down in the class. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, you go to the kitchen first. Because what will you learn? First, learn humility. When you clean the temple, it's like in Gurudwara also, they line up for those who wish to do some service, taking the shoes, right? Gurudwara, have you been to Gurudwara? Or washing your feet? There's a long queue. It says also that there's, like, say, a pujari did artik, and then, the paraphernalia or paraphernalias has been used in doing the artik. Someone will wash. The Shastra says, those who wash the paraphernalias of the deities, they are doing more than what the pujari did while offering the artik. The benefit of the one who was washing the Lord's, like ghee lamp or this lota, they use, or the conch, they'll get more benefit in terms of bhakti points. One can cultivate a garden. We have a garden here also, Krishna Balaram Mandir in Goshala. One who has land in India, at least any poor man has a certain amount of land, can utilize that for Krishna by growing flowers to offer him. One can sow tulsi plants because tulsi leaves are very important, and Krishna has recommended this in Bhagavad-Gita. Patram puspam palang toyam. Krishna desires that one offer him either a leaf or a flower or fruit or a little water, and by such an offering he is satisfied. This leaf especially refers to the tulsi. Tulsi is always there in every offerings that we like to give to Lord Krishna. And that's why Vrindavan is called Vrindavan, because this is the forest of Vrinda Devi, Tulsi Devi. Everyone should have a tulsi plant at home. Tulsi is a personality, but only one person, but she expanded herself unlimitedly. The same tulsi you have at home is the same tulsi that we have inside the altar. This is the absolute nature of Tulsi Devi. But there are different kinds of tulsi, right? There's Ram Tulsi, blackish color. There's greenish color.
Dark green.
Huh?
Dark green.
Dark green, yes. It's very, very special, Tulsi Devi. She's a gopi also. Brinda Devi. So that's a whole story about Tulsi Devi. One can sow tulsi plants because tulsi leaves are very important, and Krishna has recommended this in Bhagavad-Gita. So one can sow tulsi and pour water on the plant. Yes, it says that tulsi grows because of your bhakti. If you don't have bhakti, more likely that the tulsi will perish, will leave her body from there. And it's good to chant in front of tulsi, like Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur, he performs his japa 300,000 times names of the Lord, one through kirtan, one through silent, and one through complete, through meditation to the mind. That's how he chanted his 300,000 times the holy name of the Lord. Thus, even the poorest man can engage in the service of Krishna. These are some of the examples how one can engage in working for Krishna. So we cannot have any excuse saying that, oh no, I cannot perform bhakti. But it's so simple. If one offers even just a leaf with love and devotion, a fruit, a flower, or even water, bisleri, no problem. Krishna, Krishna, or Evian, or Aquafina, or you go to the village through the pump, you offer, but then Tulsi has to be there. So we stop here.
No,
One more paragraph? Oh my gosh. We go. The word mat-paramaḥ refers to one who considers the association of Krishna in his supreme abode to be the highest perfection of life. Nothing higher than this. This is the topmost goal. But Prabhupada says, there is this series of videos where Sid Hunter, he would interview memories of Prabhupada. And one disciples of Srila Prabhupada, one of his disciples, he says that Prabhupada says that most of my disciples, they just only want to go to Swargaloka, heavenly planets. They just want to enjoy. To go back home, back to Godhead is not so easy. It's very difficult. But it becomes easy if that is our goal. If that is not our goal, because if the material desires are still there, then the process becomes very difficult. It's like having your one foot ready to go, but the other foot says, no, stay. Then you cannot move. It's a difficult position. You may slid or you may fall down. But if both feet decided, okay, let me go, then it's easy. It's easy. Such a person does not wish to be elevated to the higher planets, such as the moon or sun or heavenly planets, or even the highest planet of this universe, Brahmaloka. This is very rare soul. Mat-paramo. Mat-paramo. Says here, mat-paramo, and the meaning of that is considering me the supreme. Rare soul is like out of many thousands who are searching for the absolute truth, hardly one knows me. Out of many jnanis, hardly one is a bhakta. And out of many bhaktas, you can hardly find one who is a Suddha bhakta, because being a bhakta also sometimes it is mixed. Neophyte bhakta, madhyam bhakta, and uttama bhakta. He has no attraction for that. He is only attracted to being transferred to the spiritual sky. And even the spiritual sky, he is not satisfied with merging into the glowing Brahma-jyoti effulgence, for he wants to enter the highest spiritual planet, namely Krishna Loka, Goloka Vrindavan. He has full knowledge of the planet, and therefore he is not interested in any other. If you want to know the secret of how to go back home, back to Godhead, you should read also this Shibrihat Bhagavatamrita. Because the story of that is there's a journey of Gopakumar going to many places, the heavenly planets, until he reached Krishna Loka as a Gopa. He has full knowledge of that planet, and therefore he is not interested in any other. As indicated by the word mad-bhaktaḥ, he fully engages in devotional service, specifically in the 9 processes of devotional engagement: hearing, chanting, remembering, worshipping, serving the lotus feet of the Lord, offering prayers, carrying out the orders of the Lord, making friends with Him, and surrendering everything to Him. One can engage in all of the 9 devotional processes, or 8 or 7, or at least one, or at least in one, and that will surely make one perfect. That one is what? Kirtanam. 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 Because in every one of those 9 processes, the kirtanam should be included. If you don't chant your rounds and you just want to do puja, Krishna will not accept your artik 100%. So kirtanam should be there, because we made an agreement with our Guru Maharaj. We have to chant our prescribed number of rounds, minimum 16 rounds, not maximum, minimum. And we can go on and on and on and on, and then everything will follow. So the process is very easy, as Prabhupada says. It's easy for the simple-minded, but it's difficult for the what? Crooked-minded. Krishna consciousness is so simple, you will miss it. But I really appreciate your participation in Bhagavad-Gita. I know most of you, if not all of you here, are regular coming to Srila Prabhupada's house to listen Bhagavad-Gita every day. And also for those who listen to our FM, really appreciate your patronage, your being engaged in Harikatha, and for those also who's subscribed to our IVTV, you hear Bhagavad-Gita classes and Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that we can measure one's advancement in Krishna consciousness by how much one is eager to hear the name, fame, form, qualities, and pastimes of the Supreme Lord. That's how. Any points? Any other points? Any question? Yes, sir.
Maharaj, can I ask questions regarding the morning class? Is it okay?
We are in the evening class. You want to ask question in the morning? Okay, no problem. I gave the same class anyway.
Because morning I have said I have no time to ask questions 9 o'clock this morning.
Oh, yes?
So, regarding the morning, when we discuss the class, the Yasoda, Mother Yasoda she is coming to her natural position as a Vatsala Baba.
Huh?
After she realized that Krishna is the spirit step God and everything, she realized again because of Yoga Maya,
She came back.
So, as we discussed, Sankarasa, Sakyarasa, Vasana, this, as already you said, we cannot imitate the pure devotees.
Yes.
But in case this cannot go together, right? Following the rasa, suppose I am in friendship with Krishna.
But that will...
As soon as I know it is Krishna, is Supreme Krishna, not in the rasa is lose the taste, right?
No. Right now, because we're conditioned souls, therefore we have to purify our existence, purify our senses, our mind, our intelligence, our ego. Once they're all purified, then eventually we will be attracted to one of the inhabitants of Vrindavan, who is eternally, they have this association with Krishna. Will be like inspired by that personality. It will come. And it says in the Shastra also that the spiritual master reveals your eternal relationship with Lord Krishna. So our duty right now is just follow Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, purify our senses, coming for the morning program, purify our hearts, just like I gave that example of the bucket. Did you hear that example of the bucket? Keep cleansing, keep cleaning, eventually our hearts will become purified, and then it will open up in a different dimension that Krishna will inspire us to follow one of the footsteps of the inhabitants of Vrindavan, whereby also it is our eternal swarup or eternal relationship with Krishna. It'll open up. So right now we cannot say, I'm a gopi. Or you go to Radha Kund and look for one of the Babajis there and ask, what is my relationship? During Prabhupada's time, one of his disciples went there, one of the Babajis, and one of the Babajis says, you're a peacock. You're a peacock in Krishna Loka. So the devotee started to practice becoming a peacock. It doesn't work like that. You can be a tree in the spiritual world. You can be a monkey in the spiritual world. In the eyes of Krishna, we're all equal. Being a monkey of Krishna is not an ordinary person, not an ordinary form or personality. What to say of those in human-like form, serving Krishna as a gopa, a gopi, or cowherd maidens. So don't worry about this now. You cannot. You will not comprehend it now. It's not possible. It's beyond our reach. We're just like a child trying to reach for the moon. We cannot reach the moon. But the mother will say, "Okay, you can reach the moon. Here is a basin of water, and the reflection is there, and that is the moon. You can touch." But that is not real. So what is real is that we have to still purify our senses. Keep doing this again and again and again. And someday it will happen. Right? Anything else? Prabhu? Shall we stop here now? It's a very nice verse. We should memorize this verse. I will try to memorize myself. It's the essence. Acharya says this is the essence of all the Vedic scriptures. Let me repeat that again, at least a translation. My dear Arjuna, one who is engaged in my pure devotional service, free from the contamination of previous activities and from mental speculation, who is friendly to every living entity, certainly comes to me. If we can memorize this, even in the English, then, certainly one day we will come to Krishna. If we follow. Be engaged in bhakti, free from the previous activities, contamination, free from karma, engage all of our activities for the pleasure of Krishna. That means Krishna karma, and no more mental speculation. And then, who is friendly to every living entity, knowing Krishna as a super soul who resides in everyone's heart. How many do you need to know? 1, 2, 3, and 4. 4 things. Perform bhakti, perform Krishna karma, no more free from cleanse our heart. Of course, that is synonymous. No more mental speculation, and become friends to everyone. Okay?
5.
Huh? 5? Which one is the 5th one?
Mat-karma-kṛn first. Mat-paramo second.
Oh, mat-paramo, mat-paramo.
Mat-bhaktaḥ, saṅga-varjitaḥ, and nirvairaḥ sarva-bhūteṣu.
Yes. Engage in doing mat-paramaḥ concerning me. Mad-bhaktaḥ, engage in my devotion. Saṅga-varjitaḥ, free from contaminated activities. Nirvairaḥ, without an enemy. Yes. Yes. But at least chant. You only do one. Everything else will follow. Alright. Chant without offenses. Okay, thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada. Okay. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Thank you very much.